Hello. In our latest French cleat build video, I'm going to show you how to make a circular saw holder that's cheap, easy to build, stylish, and saves space.
Wax on, wax off. Don't forget to breathe. Very important.
Breathing is important. If you know me, you know I like cheap and simple because I'm not a fancy person. And this fits the bill. It holds the circular saw very securely right here on my French cleat wall. Now I've seen French cleat holders for circular saws in the past, and they fall into two main groups. One is the sideways group, where a shelf is set up and the tool is displayed sideways. That's great. You can identify your tool quickly and easily. Wonderful, but it isn't easy to grab it right away and use it. And I have a horizontal space problem here in my small shop, and I want to save as much horizontal space as possible, so I always turn my tools 90 degrees. Now I've seen these as well, and usually the mount involves a ramp of some sort that the saw sits on. Usually there's a slot in the ramp for the blade to stick through, which is also fine. But when I look at my circular saw, I say, wait a minute, I've already got a ramp. This metal bar right here, this metal plate, could do the same thing that that supporting piece of wood is doing, and if I eliminate that ramp, I don't have to cut a hole for the saw blade, and plus I'll get all the space underneath to store the power cord, because I'm still using power cord circular saws because I'm old.
And you're reading this with my voice.
I have two circular saws. I have this spiffy new one here, skill saw, that does a lot of great work, and I have this one that I used in high school and earlier that belonged to my father, and it's one that I'll keep and I'll continue to use.
Like my father before me.
That's the third time I've used that Luke Skywalker clip to remind myself that old tools are part of your heritage and you should keep them. So if you have old tools and you can still use them, absolutely build mounts for them, put them in your shop. You may not use it very often, but you remember all the old projects you did back when you were younger and you had this as your finest tool. The circular saws are kind of heavy, so I'm going to break up my normal practice and go with some metal bracing that'll give us the strength we need to hold these, because we're making an L-shaped shelf. There's not going to be an angular support, so these will do the job. Unfortunately, these use 3/4 inch screws to hold them in place, so I'm going to use some 3/4 inch scrap that I've got from another project I did. I think it was the flip top drill press over there, but I have some of this, so it'll be 3/4 inch plywood. This is just an L-shaped shelf that sticks to a wall. You can build this. We could use math to figure out the angles, but why do that when we've got the saw right here? Place your saw on the edge of your workbench, tilt it back as far as you can without the blade contacting the back wall, and see how high you need to cut that wood. The cut list for this circular saw French cleat holder is just like all the other French cleat holders in this shop. Stupidly simple. Both pieces of wood are 7 inches wide, the bottom of them is 7 inches long, and the top one is 9 inches wide. 7 by 9, 7 by 7. We'll talk about these other strips later, but they're also pretty simple. Next step is to cut the wood with whatever cutting method you have at your disposal. Then sand it, because we don't want splinters. And now you have your 7 by 9 and 7 by 7 pieces. On the 7 by 7 piece, mark a line 1 inch in on the left and right sides. This is where we're going to mount our steel brackets. Next, we attach the 7 by 7 piece to the front of the 7 by 9 piece. I'm using glue and screws here because I want a secure mount, but you can use either. They'll both work. Well, I guess the brackets won't work without screws, so use screws. Most circular saws have this flange coming off the back that's used in certain cuts, and that will prevent you from putting a single lip across the front of your mount, so you have to have 2 pieces. Mark off where your flange is, and cut some strips of scrap wood to make your lip. I'm making 4 here because I'm building 2 mounts for 2 saws, so I need more than just the 2. Then attach those lips across the front of your mount. I'm using glue here, but glue or screws will work. And they will keep your saw from falling out and will not interrupt that flange coming off the back of the saw. Then the French cleat is attached to the back. I'm using glue and screws because my family has expressed to me they do not enjoy loud crashing noises from the shop in the middle of the night. The circular saw mounts fit very well here on my rapidly filling French cleat wall. These are going to be welcome additions to the shop. In fact, we're going to use them this weekend to build a dinosaur. True story.
Roar! Or something.
If you want to see more of my French cleat tool holder ideas, check out this playlist. It has all the stuff that I've built so far, and I'll keep adding more every month as I finish building out the shop. So basically, it's never going to end. Thanks to our patrons. You make it possible for us to do all this stuff and so much more. We really appreciate your help. And of course, we use these French Cleat tool holders to hold the tools that we use to build other projects like furniture and other weird stuff. If you want to check that stuff out, like and subscribe to the channel. You'll get French Cleats, you'll get strange furniture, and other weird stuff because that's what we do. We'd love to have you. But that's all I got for this time. I will see you next time.